Joining me today on the Capital Show, Charlie Lamento, who I've met a few days ago in Texas. Charlie,
Yes.
you are an international human rights lawyer.
Yes.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good
Our
morning.
our topic today is about Take It Down bill. I want to ask you, what was the role of President Trump signing it, and how Melania Trump get involved in leading the initiative. Can you summarize for us what Take It Down bill, uh, uh, what this legislation entails,
Mhm.
and how it protects children and abusing children?
Yeah, so thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. It's a privilege to be here. I've been working on really anti-trafficking, migrant smuggling, and the issue of trying to reduce the use of pornography. So this ties right into this is a bill that needed to be passed a long time ago. President Trump has been really a main advocate. His first during his first administration, now the second one, he's taken it deeper, and I'm really happy about that because we need to do more to restrict, to monitor, to regulate the use of pornography, specifically with children. The big issue with the Take It Down bill was that now that we have the automated intelligence, the AI intelligence is allowing you to take pictures of people and then to change those images and then put them online. So you could put body parts and anything that you want practically with the AI technology. And then, of course, that can harm a person's reputation, uh, uh, and all other kinds of things. That would also be considered bullying, which happens a lot as well.
Mm.
It's bad enough that you have online predators that get young people, specifically young people. I mean, my target and interest is young people, people that don't understand and that cannot consent to having these images put online, disseminated in the public byway, including, the focus here obviously is the internet, the damage that it could do. I mean, it's caused suicides and it's caused all kinds of horrible
Yeah.
things to happen to not just children, but adults too. So this was a long time coming. I think that
Can, can
so.
we can we talk
What,
about mechanism laws that who can be held accountable, platform, individual, or both? How this bill
Well, yeah, so both, and that is one. Well, first off, that this specifically is going to require. I mean, obviously, here's, of course, as a lawyer, I understand the there is vague and ambiguous wording, but to some extent, you have to do that with a bill like this. This forbids non-consensual intimate or sexual content, imaging of any sort. They
Mhm.
call it deep fakes online, which means this idea that they're AI generated. They could either be real images or AI generated images, but either way, if you put if you put someone's images online and you disseminate that in the public, in the internet, or any other public this specifically addresses the internet, then then you would contact uh, the online networks, and then you would say you got 48 hours to take that down. Okay, so that's one. And the second thing is then, assuming you can catch the criminal, obviously the predator is that there'll be criminal offense. You'd be prosecuted as a criminal in federal law. So another good thing about federal law, I mean, I'm a former prosecutor, assistant prosecutor from the state of Missouri. And so I understand differences in that. For instance, at the time when I was a prosecutor, 1 year, for instance, in the state of Missouri, 1 year was considered like 3 months. So a good thing about a federal crime is that, if you're convicted of a crime and you serve, let's say, 5 years or 10 years, you're going to serve almost 90% or more of that, depending on all different kinds of aggravating or mitigating factors or anything else that that the judge or jury, if they
Yeah.
even have a choice to reduce that time period. So that's a good thing that it's federal, that the federal courts are taking it
Yeah. But
because you still.
what about across the border, crossing border online abuse, how we can hold them accountable, how this bill can
Yeah.
address this challenge, especially with perpetrators outside U.S. jurisdiction?
Yeah, so I mean, like everything else, everything seems easy and nice, but of course, you're talking about the issue that you're bringing up is this idea of jurisdiction. Not only do we need to have personal jurisdiction over the person or entity that's putting up the images, right? I mean, obviously they're going to have we have two different sources. One is that the social media uh, platform,
Mm,
like Instagram or Facebook or whoever, where the image is put on there without consent, they're going to have to pull it down within 48 hours. And I'm sure they're going to have their little, you're going to have to fill out their form and say, hey, this is non-consensual, never consented to this.
mm.
Please take it down. Okay, so there's that aspect. And if they don't do it, then of course the government can go after the social media platform in
Uh,
order to make them
can
take
can
it down.
can the big tech refuse this bill? And why do you believe big tech wants us be silent about it? What specific companies, if you know, and the platforms
Yeah, yeah.
have,
Well, I mean, so it's
have
interesting
resisted
because
the bill?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like Meta, the platform, Facebook platform Meta,
Mm,
they agree. They somehow support this. They have made statements that they support this bill. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, all social media networks, social media platforms are concerned. I think to some extent.
mm,
The problem is that the pornography industry is billion-dollar industry. So there's so much money, so many lobbyists out there
yeah.
using every argument they can to say, you're squashing freedom of speech by doing this. But again, is
Is there
that
is there
that
evidence of lobbying efforts by tech?
courts, yeah, so I would foresee there's nothing is absolute here. I mean, I think it's going to be per case by case basis. I mean, obviously, if I mean, let's use an easy case where it's a child, specifically if it's a child, specifically if the child's under 18 or if it's a child, image of child pornography, that's going to be taken down. That's an easy one. It's all the other kinds of things. It's not just children, it's adults too. So,
So How,
you're going
how,
to
how
have
can,
to.
how can parents and guardians use this law to protect their children? Is there any mechanism for reporting,
Well, I
requesting?
mean, obviously, yes. I mean, there are different kinds of applications, obviously, parental issues. But I think here's another interesting thing is that, let's say the image is put on a pornographic website like a Pornhub or some of these other websites. Of course,
Mm,
Pornhub has been getting crucified with lawsuits coming against them, and I'm happy to see that because they've just been simply irresponsible in what kind of content they've allowed to be disseminated to the public. But
mm,
assuming that happens, it goes that. I mean, those platforms are also going to be responsible, are
mm,
also going to have to watch what they put online because it's got to be consensual. The other thing is you're going to have to prove, the prosecutor's going to have to prove that they knowingly put these images online. They knowingly publicized, and it's not just how about this? It's not just knowingly publicizing, that is, uploading, for instance, these images on a social media platform, but it's also the threat of publishing this. So it's not just the publication of it, of
mm, mm,
non-consensual sexual content. It's also the threat to
mm.
publish. So if I threaten, I'm gonna really go after you, and I threaten you with that, that is also a crime under this
Yeah.
legislation. Now, like
Harass.
everything else, you got to prove it.
Yeah. You've been traveling a lot. You've been in Kurdistan, and I know you do human rights cases. You are involved so much involved. Do you think that the countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE are advanced in protection in this kind of protection, children protection in different ways? Uh,
Here's, I mean, I don't know all the
these
different
these
countries'
these
laws.
countries
I
are
will,
taking this
yeah, go
issue
ahead.
very seriously. Yeah.
Well, I would say that South Korea is one of the best as far as getting what we call. I'm really striving for Missouri. Missouri is trying to pass something, or they may have already passed something. I look at Texas; they passed what we call age verification bills, so that uh, I mean, it's not. I looked at Texas. Texas doesn't work on all the websites. It works on Pornhub, but you can see that like South Korea has a really great one. You cannot access any pornographic website, anything sexual related without proving you're 18. I
Mm,
like that age verification process that South Korea has. Other countries and other states in the US are trying to do it, but the fact is, look, the evidence is clear about what pornography does. So this is somewhat indirectly related, right? This is not just
mhm,
people. Obviously, this bill was
Mhm.
is bring justice to victims who have been who
Yeah.
do not want their images put online. Now, it's another thing if the underage minor wants
Mhm.
sells their images of sexual content. That's another issue. But like everything else, you got to have to prove the case, and you're gonna have to prove it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So assuming if you see the image up there, right, the person who sees their image, they're going to be the one, obviously, or the parents, if it's a minor, especially, the parents or the guardian's going to have to step forward and say, "This is a picture of my child,
Yeah.
and you guys need to take it down."
Mhm.
Uh, they didn't give
Yeah,
consent.
we had a case, such case in Lebanon with TikTok, and I don't
TikTok,
know
yeah.
how it went at the end. How do you see the International Human Rights Organization looking at the U.S. leadership in this issue?
I think that they just are not, I don't know. I mean, my experience working at the UN as a UN representative for this Global Hope Network International, it's a Swiss NGO in Geneva. I've gone to meetings in Vienna at the Office for Drugs and Crime, which is the United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime. And actually, at the international level, I get to kind of see what people are talking about, but it just seems like they're not really serious about removing this content. I think for whatever reason, I don't really know their motives. Who can get into someone's head and figure that out? But it just doesn't seem like, I mean, they talk about it and they pass all kinds of procedures, all kinds of declarations and things. But I don't know. It to me, same with human trafficking. I mean, we're losing the battle for human trafficking. It's only increasing. So, uh, like the European Union is an example. I mean, maximum you get 10 years for being a human trafficker, a sex trafficker, as an example. I mean, that's a
That's not
joke.
enough. Yeah.
And nobody serves 10 full years at least. And if they do, it's a miracle. But again, it's there's a lot of talk and a lot of conferences and a lot of content, but no real action.
Mhm.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
real action.
There is lots of fight. Could this bill, in your opinion, set a global precedent for online child protection?
Well, like everything else, the United States is a, source to be reckoned with when it comes to this type of legislation. Whatever legislation that is being passed could be
Mm.
seen as, this is something good. Let's model our legislation after it.
Mm.
Um, I mean, obviously, right. I mean, the U.S. and I think now that we have the Trump administration, we're going to have more people focusing on these issues and really trying to do something substantively about it instead of just talking about it and showing up, having all these conferences and not really getting anything done. I
Mhm.
mean, international law is supposed to be, I mean, there's no real tribunals to enforce this. So it's supposed to be a way where you have best practices and model legislation that you could learn from if you're Lebanon or if you're China or if you're Russia, you could use this type of legislation to model your own after.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there are more strict versions and there are more watered down versions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Legislation can be done that way.
Yeah. In our closing, Charlie, what would you say to the parents who are American parents who are watching this episode?
Well, like everything else, I think that I've debated the pornography issue so many different times. I mean, I know that we have to have age verification. We really need, for all kinds of reasons, age verification for minors so that we prevent them from. I mean, people are going to get access to the internet if there's a way, there's a will, or if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
But at least this is going to help us help people stop. It'll prevent and reduce people viewing pornography because the science is very clear now what it's doing to the brain, very much like a drug addiction or alcohol addiction, things that it's doing, how it's continuing to create more problems. And I think for parents, I think the parents are the ones, and it shouldn't be the schools, but it should be the parents. And parents should be able to warn the kids of the things and about whatever you say, whatever images that you put online, you risk the fact. Right, you risk the fact that somebody can use that. Now, here's an interesting case, right? Because you have to think about these things. Is assuming that young people, and lots of young people are doing it because they think it's cool, is they take naked pictures of themselves. They really don't know who they're sending them to at sometimes. I mean, the predator can you never know who you're talking to online, even if you see a picture of them or a video image of them, especially with all the new AI technology. So assuming that they trick them to put that online, and the miner says, yeah, it's okay. I don't mind having my naked pictures online. Well, you can't prosecute anybody if that's true.
Yeah, if it's by willing, was willing to do that, and maybe that's
Yes, it's not forbidden. I mean, but
yeah.
but but if
But
whoever is getting prosecuted is going to have to prove that.
yeah, yeah, I under it's too complicated. But anyway, thank you, Charlie
The
Lamento.
parents are the best. Yeah, the parents should be the first
Yeah,
line of defense.
thank you
Thank you.
for this summarize, and
Good.
thank you. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you addressing this issue. Bye bye.